The 1970s were a special time for Black kids, full of music and family, neighborhood life, and moments that shaped who we became. But if you really grew up back then, there are certain things you remember that you cannot explain to anyone else. Here are 10 things only Black kids who grew up in the 1970s remember. Number 1. Soul Train. Saturdays were non-negotiable. Watching Soul Train every Saturday morning was more than just turning on the TV for Black kids in the 1970s. It was the one show you built your morning around. Chores got done fast so you would not miss it. The volume went up, and the living room turned into a stage. You watched the Soul Train line, then practiced the moves on the carpet, trying to hit the same swagger you saw on screen. And it was never just you. Family talked about the dancers. Neighbors mentioned it later. Kids copied steps at school like it was a secret language. It was not just a show. It was culture on display. For Black kids in the 1970s, it was a weekly reminder that our style and talent mattered. Sitting in the barbershop or beauty salon for hours was more than just getting your hair done for Black kids in the 1970s. It felt like being in a second home. You heard the clippers buzzing, and you smelled hair grease in the air. For the girls, that hot comb smell meant business. Magazines were everywhere, and the conversations were loud, constant, and full of opinions. Grown folks debated everything from sports to politics, and kids sat there listening like they were getting a free education. In the beauty salon, women talked while hands worked, and you learned confidence without anyone calling it that. Compliments, jokes, and real talk all happened in the same chair. In the barbershop, you learned how men carried themselves and how respect was earned. It was not just grooming, it was community. For Black kids in the 1970s, those shops were where you learned who you were. Number 3. The good room stayed perfect. Knowing the living room was for company only was more than just a rule for Black kids in the 1970s. That expectation held no matter what. The couch had plastic covers that stuck to your legs in the summer, and the pillows looked like they were never meant to be touched. Kids learned fast where they were allowed to sit. The second you even leaned the wrong way, you would hear it. Do not sit there. Sometimes you did not even need words. One look from a parent or grandparent was enough. Everybody in the house knew the rule. When cousins came over, you were sent to the everyday room, the kitchen, or straight outside. The good room was for company, for church folks, for special moments. It was not just furniture, it was pride. For Black kids in the 1970s, keeping things nice meant dignity. Number 4. Ebony and Jet were always in the house. Seeing Ebony and Jet magazines on the table was more than just noticing something to read for Black kids in the 1970s. It was like having the culture right there in the house. Those glossy pages were full of ads, headlines, and photos of Black stars, leaders, and everyday people doing big things. Kids would flip through them slowly, looking at the clothes, the hairstyles, and the faces that looked like family. Adults read them for the news and the stories, then talked about what they saw like it mattered, because it did. Sometimes an auntie would point to a page and tell you who somebody was. Sometimes a parent would read an article out loud. And even if you did not catch every word, you caught the message. It was not just magazines, it was representation. For Black kids in the 1970s, it meant seeing Black success as normal. Number 5. Double Dutch and hand clap games ran the block. Hearing ropes slap the pavement after school was more than just background noise for Black kids in the 1970s. It meant the block was alive. Double Dutch was rhythm, skill, and courage all at once. 2 ropes turned fast. Kids jumped in with chants, and the sidewalk crowd watched like it was a show. You had to time it right, keep your feet light, and still look cool doing it. Hand clap games were just as serious. Kids lined up, singing patterns and clapping sequences that tested your memory and your timing. And everybody played a role. Older kids taught the younger ones the rules and the rhymes. Little kids watched, waiting for their turn, trying to learn without messing up. Friendships formed right there on the concrete, one jump at a time. It was not just play, it was skill and belonging. For Black kids in the 1970s, the block was your playground. Getting dressed for Sunday service was more than just putting on clean clothes for Black kids in the 1970s. Church was a weekly fashion show and a family event all at once. Clothes got pressed, shoes got wiped down, and the house moved with purpose. Women wore beautiful hats that turned the aisle into a runway, and kids were reminded to sit up straight and act right. The service could feel long, but the choir made it worth it. Those voices filled the room and lifted everybody, like the whole church was breathing together. And it was not just about worship. Families sat together, neighbors greeted each other, and kids learned discipline just by being there. You learned respect, patience, and how to carry yourself in public. It was not just church, it was the heart of the community. For Black kids in the 1970s, Sunday meant pride and togetherness. Number 7, corner store runs felt like freedom. Walking to the corner store with change in your pocket was more than just getting snacks for Black kids in the 1970s. It felt like your first taste of freedom. You pushed the door open, the bell rang, and the smell of sugar and chips hit you right away. Candy jars sat on the counter, and you had decisions to make. Now and laters and penny candy were little treats you could actually afford. You counted coins like it was serious business, then walked out proud with your bag in hand. And it was never just you. The owner usually knew your name and your family, so you had to say please and thank you. Outside, kids compared what they bought and started trading on the sidewalk, swapping flavors and showing off the best picks like it mattered. It was not just snacks, it was independence. For Black kids in the 1970s, that walk was your first taste of freedom. Number 8, the TV antenna struggle was real. Adjusting the antenna for a clear picture was more than fixing the TV for Black kids in the 1970s. It was a whole house mission. The picture would flicker, the sound would crackle, and someone would jump up to work the rabbit ears. Sometimes there was foil on the tips, like it was real science. Then one person got assigned the hardest job. Stand right there and do not move. If they shifted even an inch, the screen turned to snow. From the couch, everybody yelled directions. A little left, now back, hold it, stop. When the channel finally locked in and the picture popped clear, the whole room settled down at once like you all won together. It was not just TV, it was teamwork. For Black kids in the 1970s, even entertainment was shared effort. Number 9, Roots in 1977 stopped the whole house. Watching Roots as a family was more than just TV for Black kids in the 1970s. When Roots came on in 1977, it stopped the whole house. The living room got quiet in a way you did not usually hear. Adults watched with heavy faces. Kids stared at the screen, and nobody treated it like entertainment. You could feel the emotions in the room: anger, sadness, pride, all mixed together. Kids asked questions. Parents answered the best they could, explaining history in real time, trying to put words to something that was bigger than the show. It was not just one household. Families everywhere were watching. The next day, people talked about it at church, at school, and on the block. Everyone had a reaction. Everyone remembered a scene. It was not just a show, it was history and identity. For Black kids in the 1970s, it changed how you understood your story. Number 10, respect for the wooden spoon. Knowing the wooden spoon meant business was more than just being scared for Black kids in the 1970s. It was instant understanding. You did not even have to see it. You heard the drawer open, the wood tap the counter, and your whole attitude changed. Talking back stopped. Running in the house stopped. Whatever you were doing suddenly became very calm. The wooden spoon was the universal warning. and every kid knew what it meant without needing an explanation. And it was not just your house. Everybody had one. Parents, grandparents, aunties. Somebody always had a spoon ready. And the story sounded the same from block to block. Years later, adults would laugh about it, but the respect was still real, because that was how you learn limits. It was not just discipline, it was structure. For Black kids in the 1970s, it taught boundaries and respect. Which one of these memories takes you right back? Drop your 1970s memory in the comments. What do you remember that nobody believes today? Hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another trip down memory lane.